Hey, Vibrant Gardeners! Welcome back to the Grow with Vibrant Rainbow Gardens podcast, where busy families and beginner gardeners learn how to grow vibrant, organic gardens with confidence right here in Texas. I'm so glad you're here today because this is one of those episodes so many of you have been waiting for. Today, we are talking about what to plant right now in March, specifically for Houston and Texas gardeners. Because if you have stepped outside lately, you have probably noticed something. Spring has basically arrived early this year. The days are warmer, the garden centers are packed, nurseries are absolutely overflowing with tomatoes and herbs. And if you're anything like me, you feel that pull, that almost physical urge to get outside and start planting something. And honestly, March is one of those most exciting gardening months of the entire year in Texas. It really is. But here's the thing, before you run to the nursery and start filling up your cart, there's this one thing I want you to do first. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. So stay with me. This year, much of South Texas has already seen temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and even into the 80s on some days. For those of us in the Houston area, that means the soil is warming up quickly, plants are waking up, and spring gardening season has officially begun. Now, this is important. Texas is a very big state, and what you should be planting right now depends on where in Texas you live. Today, I want to walk through three main regions: South Texas, including Houston, Central Texas, North Texas, because the timing and the temperatures are a little bit different in each of these regions. And I want to make sure I'm giving you advice that actually fits where you are. So let's start with South Texas, which is where most of my listeners are. If you live in Houston, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, or the Rio Grande Valley, spring gardening is fully underway for you. The soil temps are warming, your days are long enough, and right now you have a beautiful window to plant a wide variety of warm season crops. The big ones, the ones everyone gets excited about, are your favorite warm season vegetables: tomatoes. And I always say plant at least two varieties if you can: peppers, sweet bells, jalapenos, whatever your family actually loves to eat. Eggplant, an underrated stunning garden plant. Bush beans, super fast growing and incredibly satisfying. Cucumbers, give them something to climb and they will reward you all season. Squash and zucchini, good for beginners because they do grow fast and produce a lot, but timing is very important to escape the vine borers. Now, I want to say something important here, especially if you're brand new to gardening. You do not have to plant all these things. You just need to start with one or two that actually excite you. The goal in your first season is not a huge harvest. The goal is to fall in love with the process. This is also a great moment to plant some actually quick growing cool season vegetables, especially if you're newer to gardening and you want some really fast wins. Lettuce, You can start harvesting in just a few weeks. But it is actually hard, so use a heat tolerant variety. Arugula, peppery and fast. They are much more tolerant to heat than lettuces. Spinach, they are super nutritious and easy to grow. And use a heat tolerant variety. Start from seeds. Radishes are one of the fastest vegetable you can actually grow. Ready in about 35 days. These crops give you that early harvest energy, that moment where you pull something from your garden and bring it in your kitchen. And you think, oh my God, I grew that. I actually grew that. That feeling is what keeps gardeners coming back year after year. Okay, I have to talk about herbs because herbs might be my favorite thing to grow in the garden. And I say this as someone who grows tomatoes, peppers, all of it. Herbs are some of the most rewarding plants you can grow. Full stop. They grow quickly. They are incredibly productive for the space they take up. And you can start using them in your kitchen almost immediately. Some great herbs to plant right now in March are basil, pairs beautifully with your tomatoes and loves the heat. Cilantro, plant it now before the summer heat causes it to bolt. Parsley, steady, reliable, and so useful in the kitchen. Dill, light, feathery, and absolutely stunning in the garden. Thyme, tough, drought tolerant, and a perennial in the Houston. Mint, if you don't plan to use it as much, plant it in a container so it doesn't take over your garden. I'll be honest, every time I walk past my garden and brush against the basil or thyme, that scent hits me. And that's when I remember why I started gardening in the first place. Herbs are one of the easiest way to feel like your garden is already giving back to you, even when it's still getting started. Okay, now here is something that beginner gardeners often skip, and I really don't want you to skip it. Add flowers to your vegetable garden. And before you think, Vandana, I don't have room. I want vegetables. Hear me out. Flowers in a vegetable garden do so much more than just look beautiful. Although, yes, they are beautiful. Here's what flowers actually do for your garden: they attract pollinators, the bees, the butterflies, all the good guys, which means your vegetables will produce more fruit. They attract beneficial insects that eat the pests that would otherwise eat your plants. They create a healthier, more balanced ecosystem in your garden. And they bring you joy every single time you walk outside. Some of my favorite wonderful beginner flowers to plant right now are zinnias, they're drought tolerant, long blooming, and the pollinators absolutely love them. Marigolds, legendary for repelling pests, especially around tomatoes. Cosmos, airy and beautiful. They grow quickly from seed. Nasturtiums, edible flowers that double as pest trap for aphids. So when you're planning your garden, think vegetables plus herbs plus flowers. That trifecta is the secret to a garden that's both productive and beautiful. Okay, Central Texas gardeners. Now let's move up the map a bit. Talk about Central Texas. I'm talking about gardeners in Austin, Waco, College Station, and the surrounding areas. Right now, temps are warming up nicely as well. Mornings are around 70s and 80s. Nighttime temperatures are staying in the 60s, which means the soil is already warm and your plants want to grow. But, and this is important, Central Texas can still get a surprise cold front. We are talking about a quick drop to the 40s overnight. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. So while you absolutely can start planting warm season crops right now, I want you to keep one eye on the forecast just for the next few weeks. What can you plant right now in Central Texas? Tomatoes and peppers? Go for it. Beans and cucumbers? Amazing choice. Herbs? All the same ones we talked about for Houston. Additionally, leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, and arugula, these actually do very well right now before the heat arrives. And one more thing for Central Texas gardeners, if you haven't planted cool season crops yet, you still have a small window. Kale, Swiss chard, peas, spinach can still be planted now for an early harvest before the summer heat kicks in. Okay, let's talk about my North Texas gardeners. Dallas, Fort Worth, Lubbock, Amarillo. You all are just a little bit further behind in the season. And that's completely okay. In early March, typical temps in North Texas are 60s to low 70s. Nighttime temps are in the 40s and 50s right now. That means your soil is still warming up and your plants know it. Even if you had wants to plant tomatoes right now. So right now is the perfect time to plant cool season plants like lettuce, kale, spinach, chard, and snappies. These crops absolutely love the weather you're having right now in North Texas. They'll grow beautifully. For warm season crops like tomatoes and peppers, your window is generally later March through early April. Use these next few weeks to plan your garden, prep your soil, and get everything ready so that when it's time to plant your tomatoes, you're completely ready to go. Okay, I want to talk about something that happens almost every gardener in March. I've seen it happen to beginners, I've seen it happen to experienced gardeners, and I will fully admit it has happened to me too. I call it the March Nursery Trap. And here's how it goes. You walk into a nursery, and it absolutely is magical in there this time of the year. There are tables full of tomato plants, every variety you've actually wanted to try. Peppers in every color, the red ones, orange ones, my favorite, the purple ones. Beautiful pots of fresh herbs. The basil smells incredible. Flowers everywhere you look. The butterflies are buzzing outside. Birds singing. It feels like being in a paradise. Suddenly, your brain goes, I want all of it. So, you reach for one tomato plant, then another, and maybe six tomatoes. Because you're planning ahead, right? And then some peppers and a little basil. Add some cucumbers, a few marigolds. Oh, and the zucchini looks great this year. Before you know it, your cart is overflowing. And yes, you're genuinely excited. You're lit up. But then you get home and you start looking at your backyard, and reality starts to creep in. You're thinking, where am I going to plant all of this? Do I have enough space? What order do I plant them in? These plants going to be okay if I don't get them into ground today? And that excitement, that beautiful spring energy you walked into the nursery with, starts to tip over into the overwhelm area. And that's exactly where a lot of beginner gardeners get stuck. Not from lack of desire, not from lack of effort, but from starting with too much all at once. without a plan. Here's the shift that changes everything. Plan your planting before you go to the nursery, not after. So, before you walk through those nursery doors, decide what vegetables do you actually want to eat? What herbs do you use in your cooking? What flowers would make you smile every morning? How much space do you realistically have? Then go to the nursery with that list and buy those things. Not everything that catches your eye. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Nurseries are designed to be inspiring. That's the whole point. But you're right, they absolutely are. But here's the difference: inspiration without a plan leads to overwhelm. Inspiration with a plan leads to a garden you will actually love. So, if you're looking at all of this and thinking, okay, but where do I actually start? I have a simple formula for you. It's simple and it works. It goes like: choose 1 to 2 vegetables, a couple of herbs, and a couple of flowers. That's it. That's your whole garden to start. For example, imagine this small, beautiful beginner garden. I'll be choosing 2 vegetables, cherry tomato and cucumber. They are both productive, fast growing, and great for salads. I'll be choosing 2 herbs, basil and cilantro. Both goes well with my cucumber and tomatoes. And for pollinators, I choose zinnias. That's 5 plants. 5 plants that'll keep you busy, excited, and harvesting all season. A small garden that you love and actually tend is infinitely better than a large garden that overwhelms you and falls apart by June. And here's the thing about starting small: it doesn't stay small forever. Every gardener who has ever built a thriving, abundant garden started somewhere small. They started with a few plants, they learned, they grew, and then the next season they expanded. Your garden is the same way. Before I send you off to plan your March garden, I want to say one quick thing about soil, because in Houston and the rest of Texas, soil is something we need to think about. Most of us deal with heavy clay soil. Clay soil holds water, compacts easily, and it can be really challenging for vegetable roots to grow through. The single best thing you can do for your Houston garden this spring is, besides choosing the right plants, of course, is to amend your soil. Add compost. A good quality compost breaks up clay and feeds your plants organic. And consider raised beds. If you're starting fresh, raised beds will let you control your soil completely and protect your soil with mulch. This will keep the moisture in, regulate soil temperature, and protect your roots from intense summer heat. Healthy soil grows healthy plants, and healthy plants will grow healthy food. It always starts with the soil. All right, vibrant gardeners, let's bring it all together. March is one of the most exciting months to be a gardener in Texas. The weather is beautiful, plants are everywhere, and your garden is ready to grow. Whether you're in Houston, Central Texas, or in the Dallas area, there is something for you to plant right now. The key is knowing your region, starting with intention, and building a garden that feels manageable and joyful. Remember, plant before you plant, start small: vegetables, herbs, and flowers. Mix your vegetables, herbs, and flowers for a really healthy garden ecosystem. And don't forget your soil. You don't have to do everything at once, you just have to start. And if you're not sure where to start, if you're looking at your space and thinking, I don't even know what kind of garden fits my life, I created something to help you with exactly that. It's called the Grozona Garden Quiz. It'll help you discover your unique gardening style, whether you're a container gardener, raised bed, or an in-ground gardener. It'll also give you a personalized starting point based on your life and your space. You can take it for free at vibrantrainbowgardens.com/quiz. I'll put the link in the show notes and it just takes a few minutes. The clarity you get from it, it is worth it. If this episode helped you, if it gave you some clarity, some excitement about your March garden, will you share it with a friend, a neighbor, someone in your family who keeps saying that they want to start a garden but doesn't know where to begin? Send them this episode because the more gardens we grow, the more vibrant our communities become. Until next time, keep growing. I'm Vandhana with Vibrant Rainbow Gardens, and I'll talk to you soon. Before you go, I have one small ask. And it actually has nothing to do with algorithms or downloads. If this episode made you think of one person, a friend, a neighbor, a fellow parent, or someone who's always said, I want to grow a garden, I want to grow my own vegetables and fruits, I just don't know where to start, would you share this episode with them? This podcast grows almost entirely through word of mouth, and every share helps someone realize that gardening doesn't have to be complicated or overwhelming. It can be gentle, it can fit real life, it can start right where they are. And if you're listening and wondering what kind of gardener you are, or what your next best step actually is, I created a free quiz to help with that. It's called the Growsona Quiz, and it helps you figure out your gardening style, your biggest challenges, and what will actually work for your season of life. Whether you're a total beginner or just need clarity. You can take it at vibrantrainbowgardens.com/quiz. And I will send you personalized guidance right after. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for helping this little garden of a podcast grow. I'll see you in the next episode.